Hi everyone, welcome back to the Colour Cave where we like to play with art stuff. It's Jem here and we are finally finishing off our frilly fish in Animorphia by Kerby Rosanes. Now, this is the interesting bit. Once we get going, it's not going to take us long to do this, but the key in using pastels for a background is preparation. Now, if you remember way back, like 7 videos of these ago, I selected a particular shade of soft pastel from this box and it was turquoise. So I'm just going to see if I can remember which one it was to start off with. Oh, hopefully I haven't got too many turquoises in here. Aha, right, okay. I have a funny feeling it might have been this one. Or maybe this one. This one looks really blue on the camera, but it's much more green. However, help us at hand. This was my pastel colour, which makes me think it was this one. Let's try it out. Yes. Woo, we're winners. Okay, so this is the one that I want. I'm going to pop that to the side just now. So I have my pastel. The other thing that I have here is a cloth. This is an old cloth, obviously. Look at the nick of it. I use it for arty pursuits now. I don't use it in my kitchen anymore. And I've just dampened it slightly, and it's basically just to wipe the dust off my fingers. There's hardly any water on that at all, because what you don't want is the pastel sticking to the moisture that's on your fingers because you've wiped your fingers. So you have to kind of, a lot of people will dry their hands just with a dry towel. I prefer something a little bit damp, but that's just my preference. Anywho's, okay, so we have our pastel, we have our damp cloth. I'm also using one of these little plastic watercolour palettes or paint palettes, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape some of the soft pastel into one of these. The other thing that I would recommend as well, which I'm going to do, is I'm going to put a scrap of paper in behind this page, and periodically as I'm working around the edge I'm going to move it. You'll see what I mean when I start, and it's just to prevent as much as possible transferring on to the back side of this page. Now you will get a little bit, but you should be able to erase it off, but naturally you want to keep it to a minimum, especially if you've coloured the opposite side of the page. So I'm just going to grab some scrap paper to stick in behind and then we can get going. I've just got a bog standard little craft knife here. I pick mine up from a shop called Flying Tiger in the UK, which is actually a Copenhagen based company. They're dirt cheap, you can pick these up pretty much anywhere. So I digress. I'm taking my little dinky stick of pastel here and I'm just doing the old scrape it off the corner. So wait till I pull it down a bit, let me see what we're doing. Yeah, so I'm just scraping off the edge. So like one of the side, you can see where I've actually done it already on that one. You can see where I've been scraping away at it. So that is all I'm going to do, but I'm going to pick another side, try and even it up a bit. And all I'm doing is scraping some of that off into here. I first saw this technique from the very wonderful Peter Hewitt, and I highly recommend her videos for tutorials, especially if you're quite new to adult colouring. Her videos are spectacular and I found them really helpful when I was learning, and I just love her, and I love all her drawings and her colouring, and everything's amazing. She's one of my favourites. So if you want to see the full shebang on doing soft pastel backgrounds, go and check out Peter Hewitt's YouTube channel. I will link it in the description for your good people, so that you can go and check it out. Okay, the important thing when you are doing this, if you're using soft pastel, is you need to work in the opposite direction to me if you are right-handed, because you do not want to be smudging over everything that you've already done. I am working right to left because I'm left-handed. If you're right-handed, you need to work left to right. So you might have to wait until you've watched the entire video if you want to see how we're getting on. Oh my goodness. Okay, dokie, the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to start up in this top corner where our little cat friend is. And I am going to dip my cotton bud into this pastel, and I'm going to tap off the excess a little bit. Now remember, the thing to remember with pastel is you can always go back and add layers. I would suggest going in very lightly to begin with, and if you want to go back over it a second time, then you know you can do. But basically I am just going to dot a little bit on like that, and then I'm going to start spreading it out. Now I am going to go sort of these kind of motions, like a left to right motion, and I'm not going to do it in like straight lines. I'm going to kind of like undulate up and down, and that is just to mimic the idea of the sea. It is entirely up to yourself. If you want to just go in little circular motions to make it really neat and really even, then that is absolutely up to you. But I'm kind of hoping for a slightly, not patchy finish, but I want there to be lighter spots and darker spots, because I want it to, you know, to sort of look like under the sea. So that's the plan. So I'm just going to see how this goes. These areas are really, really tiny. Like, these are really, really tiny. So you have to be careful when you're doing it. Now, the good thing is, because we've been using, I was going to say polychromos there, no we haven't. Because we've been using Prismacolors, because they are wax based, they do act as a bit of a resist against the pastel chalk. It's not going to save you completely, so don't rely on it, but it is pretty good. If you've got a good couple of layers down in your coloured pencil, then you're going to have less erasing to do, you know, of your pastel dust. Now, I don't know if you remember, I mean, it's so long ago since we started this, but I did have an initial concern about the colour of my seafoam next to the colour I was doing the water, and you can see there it stands out perfectly, so that is just made me very happy indeed. So yeah, this is, once you kind of get started and you find your rhythm, you will be able to speed up. Now that, what just happened there, I just dropped some pastel dust on my drawing, on my colouring page. Resist the temptation to try and brush it off with your hand, because you will smear it everywhere. Blow it off. Blow it out your way and everything will be fine. So I'm just going to carry on here. The other implement that you can use for these tight spaces, if you want to be a little bit more accurate or you just want a bit more control, is a blending stump. You know, a paper blending stump or tortillon. They're really good as well, because they have a very fine point on them. In fact, I'm going to grab one, hang on, and I'll show you that with that as well. That's a good idea. Alright, so here is just a cheap blending stump. They're nothing special. For the likes of this little bit up here in between the plants, this is going to be really handy. So again, all I'm doing is I'm just going to literally, I'm going to dip the tip in here, just so that there is a little bit on the end of this, like that. Give it a very gentle blow off, and then I'm just going to go in kind of like you would with a pencil or a pen, and I'm just going to work that in. Now you do have to kind of like turn the end of your stump so that you can use all the pastel that you've put on it. But there you go, for little tight spaces they are super handy. Ta-da! Right, and here's what I was talking about. If I just move this down a bit. Very, very faintly, but you can see that there is like a pastel border where I've been working off the edge of the paper. So I'm deliberately moving that up out of the way of the rest of the page so that it doesn't, because if that, I'm not really explaining myself very well. If I pull that down in behind this sheet of paper, that pastel is going to transfer onto the opposite side of the page that we're working on. I'm going to end up with turquoise smears all over it. So now that I've done that edge, I've pushed that sheet of paper up and away so that it doesn't do that to the back of the page. Especially, as I say, if it's a page you've not coloured, it's not so bad because you can erase it, but if it's something you've already coloured in, you really don't want that. The good thing about this is that we have a really large surface area to lean on in the shape of our fish. That's really really handy, because it saves you sticking the side of your hand in your pastel as you're working. Done that a few times. I know you guys can't really see what I'm doing here because of how close in my hand is, but I kind of have to do this, so you'll just have to bear with me a little minute. Okay, I'm going to go back to my stump now because these are kind of little itty bits. Itty bitty bits. Okay, I'm going to go back to my little cotton bud again. When I'm off screen like this, I'm just putting more pastel dust on the end of my Q-tip. Okay, let's start going back and forth now. Right, I'm going to speed up a little bit now because you have got the general idea, hopefully. I'm sure most of you have, well, most of our usual colouring people, I'm pretty sure you've all done a pastel background before, or you've at least played with pastels, so you guys are probably steaming on ahead and you've got this on in the background, and I'm just behind, I'm whittering on. Anyway, that looks pretty good. These spaces down the bottom here are quite tight, but again, I'll try and do as much as I can with the cotton bud. I don't know why I prefer the cotton bud. I don't really have a particular reason. I just like it, which is kind of weird. I'm gonna have to move my paper down as well. Try and catch some of this dust. Obviously I can't do left to right sort of swishy motions here because I really don't have enough space to do them. We shall get to that though. Maybe in one of these sort of wider open spaces near the fish's heads. Good. Okay, I'm going to move back up here now to this little bit round our little star. To make sure I move my paper over as well, catch all that dust at the edge. Come this way a little bit now. Ta-da. The other good thing to do if you're not used to using soft pastels is find an anchor point in your paper where you can rest your fingers, and the obvious place with these ones is the fish, and that stops you putting your dirty great big, excuse me, fingerprints onto your lovely colouring. I am terribly guilty of it. Even if your hands are really clean, it's the oil in your, you know, in your skin, and what it does is it leaves a perfect fingerprint. And you can see all the the rings in your thumb or your finger. Yeah, I'd make a terrible burglar. Oh dear. Right. I think I'm happy with that top edge. There is a tiny little bit in it, this crease here, but there we go. That's about as good as that's getting. Did you see that? Did you see it? Okay, I'm moving on to this larger area now. So this is going to be, you know, you're going to see my wavy lines more here, but I'm still going to try and be methodical about it. I'll start in at this tight corner, and then I'm going to start to work out. Now, if need be, I can add in, you know, another couple of layers. However, it is quite a vibrant pastel, so I don't think I'm going to need to do too much more to it. Trying to be careful working my way around these bubbles, but half of me doesn't want to be careful. Does that make sense? I feel like being haphazard. It's a good word, isn't it? Haphazard. But that's not the word I was thinking of, but it's just an equally good word to describe. Oh, that's not liberal either. I don't know what's wrong with my vocabulary these days, but I seem to have lost a lot of my words that, yeah, I don't know. Rebellious isn't the word either. I don't know what the word is, but yeah. Anyway, it's fine. I'm starting to think of like 9 million other words to substitute haphazard for. I need to stop thinking about it. If you press quite hard with that first layer, you will get the, you know, the texture of the lines that you've put down if you press hard enough on that first first attempt, I was going to say, what is wrong with me today? On that first layer. Application, there you go, first application, that's the one. Come on, Gem. Oh, and I promise I haven't been drinking today. I've tried not to go up and down the way in at the crease here, but there are certain points, you know, there's only so far that I can go with that. And I kind of have to go up and down rather than left to right. But yeah, we're not going to worry too much about that, really. I've become not very chatty all of a sudden. I'm concentrating. My brain's just started to wander. It is kind of difficult to get into this crease, I'm not going to lie. I can hear my husband's dulcet tones. Oh no. Thought he might be gracing me with his presence, but clearly not. Which is fine. Every time he comes in from outside just now, he just disturbs the puppy. So I'm like, yeah, just stay outside at work, it's fine. Especially when I'm filming videos. That's terrible, isn't it? Anybody would think I didn't want him. I'm just going to run a cotton pad over what I've done in the larger areas, just with a little bit more pastel on it, and it's just to even this out a little bit. I'm not pressing very hard. I just feel that there's some areas that are quite sort of pale and bald looking compared to others, and I just want to make it a little bit less patchy, particularly down in here. Just smooth it out a little bit. I know I said I wanted some texture, but there's texture and then there's texture. There, that's looking better already. If you look at this part compared to down here, it looks a lot less patchy. That's what we're going for. Just smooth it out a little bit. I am a great lover of texture. I don't like everything to be baby smooth. I think it's very boring. However, right, that's better. I'm a bit happier with that now. I'll move on to the other side. So, goodness me, what a mess. What a state to get into. Right, so here we go. I have another scrap piece of paper and back to my cotton bud. Okay, I think for this side, I'm going to do this as I go, just to save me having to go back over it. It's better. Right, so I want to get some of these sort of swishy. Right, so I want to get some of these sort of swishy lines in again, so I'm going to do this part first. Can you see that? I've actually got like, it's like a, oh man, it's like a flaw in the paper. It's almost like flocked a little bit. There's not much I can do about that. It'll just have to be an interesting feature of the ocean. Man, that's annoying. Never mind. I'm sure it'll look okay in amongst the chaos of everything else. Let's be realistic. There's quite a lot going on in this picture, so maybe it won't be so noticeable. The thing is though, I know it's there now, and every time I look at this I'm going to look at it and be like, oh damn. Never mind. Moving down to this part here now, I'm going to change to a new cotton bud. I don't know if you can hear that or not, my puppy's dreaming, she's squeaking, she's lying out in the hall. She's so cute. I only think she's cute when she's sleeping though, the rest of the time she's like the bane of my existence at the moment. It's only because she's small though. Once she's a little bit bigger, a little bit older, I'll probably like her a lot better. Everyone's like, oh, she's so cute, how can you not love that puppy? And I'm like, because you don't have to deal with her all day, every day when she decides to eat things that she's not supposed to eat, which right now is everything. And chew things that she's not supposed to chew, which right now is everything. And try and catch her before she piddles on the carpet and take her outside and tell her what a good girl she is when she's piddled on the grass in the garden. Yeah, it gets kind of wearing. And then you sit down and you give her a cuddle and she bites you on the nose. And you're like, thanks, dog. So yeah, me and Pup are not exactly best friends right now, but as I say, it's just because she's small. She's still a baby, she's got a lot to learn. But when she's sleeping, she's very cute. That's because she doesn't do any damage when she's asleep. It's funny though, I was saying, everybody keeps asking me, you know, when I meet people, like, how's the pup getting on? And I say this and everyone agrees with me. I've got a very short memory and I'd forgotten just how much work a young puppy is. It's been a number of years since we've had a very small dog like Pip, and you do forget. You absolutely do forget how much work they are. So this week, see, I've had quite a stressful week anyway this week, just with work and things. But chucking the puppy into the mix has just sort of, you know, made everything 20 times worse. But I'm surviving to tell the tale, but it's just, yeah, it's just one of those things, you've got to get on with it really. But she's testing my patience. If you wanted to be a little bit more adventurous, you could work in, oh no, I forgot about my scrap of paper, oh no. Put that in there. That's it. You could use a second colour, maybe like a green or a blue, and you could add little spots of that, and I think that would look quite nice as well against everything else that's here. So if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, what I would do is I would put one layer of your turquoisey colour down, and then I would take either a cotton wool ball or one of the pads that I've been using and just dab a little bit on here and there, make a nice kind of like almost like a mottled splotchy effect. That would look quite nice. I don't want to do this with this because I just feel that there's too many colours in it now. I like to keep things reasonably simple if and when I can. So today is Friday, and it is the Friday before you will see this video. I have no bank of pre-recorded videos now since I came back from my honeymoon. I always like to have one or two, and I literally just have not had time. So I'm kind of filming as I go, which I'm not particularly comfortable with. So I think over this weekend, as I say, this is Friday and you will see this video on Monday. Over the weekend, I'm going to try and film another 2 videos. Maybe not edit them and upload them, but have them there recorded so that I've got that sort of safety net again, so that you guys don't end up having to go without a video when I get real busy. So that's the plan for the weekend. Other than that, I have no other plans. I am going to try and catch up with Inktober as well, because I am about 3 days behind with that, and I'm determined that I'm finishing it and I'm finishing it on time. You know, in between I've had to play catch up and maybe do 2 or 3 drawings in a day, which is fine, but I want to finish the last one on the 31st. That's my plan anyway. So over the weekend I'm going to be doing plenty of inking. I think as well, seeing that this is the last video, I've been thinking about this quite a lot, seeing as this is the last video for the just colouring colour along, I think after this we'll take a break from the colour alongs and I'll just maybe do a colouring chat and, you know, work in a different book every time, and we can just sit and hang out and do some colouring, because it's something that I don't actually do very often now, and it's because channel Inktober blah blah blah. So that would be kind of cool, and we'll maybe do 1 or 2 of those, and then we can pick a new book and maybe start another colour along. I do think though that we'll maybe go, you know, not opt for another double page spread, because this has taken forever. We've been at this since like the summer, I'm pretty sure, or if we haven't, it feels like that anyway. We seem to have been doing this for ages, and I know that there's people that wait until the whole thing's been done, you know, until like all the parts, all the video parts have come out and the picture's finished in its entirety before they start it, because they don't like to wait for the next part. And I know quite a few people do that, so I'm pretty sure there's a few of my subscribers right now that are going, thank hell that she has nearly finished this, because we thought we were never going to see the end. Oh dear. So there you go. For those of you who like to have the whole set of videos before you actually start a colour along, here you go. Congratulations, you can finally make a start after all this time. I'm actually, that's annoying me. I'm going to look back and find out when the first video went live. Just out of curiosity. I'm going to have to find this out because it's bugging me. Oh my god, you guys. We started this on the 11th of July. This has to be the longest running colour along ever. The 11th of July. That's before I got married. That was, oh my goodness, that was when I was still a miss. Holy Moses. Oh, that's a horrible noise. We're nearly finished. Yeah, so after this today, it is late on Friday afternoon. After this today, I am going to walk my big dogs. Well, when I say my big dogs, I mean my older dogs. You know, Jock and Woo, the Jack Russell. Pip is at the stage now where she is happy to stay in her crate for about half an hour without any sort of side effects or ill effects. So we're now taking the opportunity to get her used to being in the house on her own for a short period of time while I take the big dogs out. And it's really nice because I'm getting some fresh air and some exercise. It also means I can start running again in the mornings now that she's happy to be in her crate. Alrighty. Oh, I'm just going to zoom this back out a bit so that you can see. It's finished. That is exciting, but do you know something? It's kind of made me want to put more pastel on it. Oh man. I kind of want to do it darker around the edges, but it's really fiddly, and truthfully I don't think I've got the patience to do it. Dilemmas. No, I'm just going to leave it as it is. That's just leave it as it is. Okay guys, if you have been colouring along, please give yourself a frickin' medal, because we have made it July, August, September, October. Yeah, it's been like it's been like 3.5 months to do this, but we are finally there. So the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this and I'm going to blow down the spine, because there is a lot of pastel that has collected in there. There we go. And what I'm going to do, which is going to be off camera, is I am going to take this outside and I'm going to spray it with a fixative. I use the Winsor & Newton one because it is readily available in the UK. This is a workable fixative, so for anybody in the UK and Europe, This is quite a good one. For you guys in the US, Krylon's really good. It is a workable fixative as well. So what that means is that once you've sprayed it on your work and it's dried, you can colour over the top of it again. You know, and you can do it in layers, but it holds the bottom layer in place, hence the reason it's called a fixative. But it's quite good for finishing as well. This is a matte finish, which is what you want if you're going to be working on top of it. So it is incredibly flammable and it absolutely stinks. So make sure you're safe. Spray it outside in a really well ventilated area, and do not spray it near your animals either, because that is just asking for trouble. Anyway, I'll do that afterwards. That is us. We are done and dusted. Well done, guys. I think we've done a good job. We've got there and the picture has turned out pretty well, and particularly our scales, I think we've done a good job on them for sure. So thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for watching. If you want to show me your finished articles, whether you followed along with my colours or not, please put them up on social media. All the links for the social media are in the description. You can tag me on Instagram. You can pop it into the album on my Facebook page. I have an album just for Colour Cave community stuff. If you want to post your picture in there, that would be awesome. Or you can get a hold of me on Twitter and all these other kinds of things. So I would love, absolutely love to see anyone that has finished this picture. And next time we'll do just a bit of chilled out colouring, I think. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video and enjoyed this series of videos, long and drawn out as it is. If you have, please give us a thumbs up. That is really helpful to the channel. We've made it to 500 subscribers and we are going to go for 1,000 subscribers. So any sharing, subscribing, etc. is a big help. Okay guys, that is all my rambling done. So thank you once again, and we shall see you soon in the Colour Cave. I'm going away to walk my dogs. Bye for now.